Welcome to my channel. My name is Martin. Today I'm going to react to a John Stossel video. Looks like it's about critical race theory. Let's see, what was it called again? Critical Race Theory in American Schools. Just released yesterday, it looks like. I haven't seen this one yet. I just want to take a look. I love John Stossel's stuff. I remember watching him as a kid on I think it was Dateline NBC or something like that. Some evening news show, and I always liked his take on things. He was always going after businesses and stuff like that, and it seems like the last couple of years he's really been putting out some really good stuff, even though he's not with any major mainstream media now. He's an independent completely. He does tend to take a libertarian view of things. Personally, I'm an anarchist and don't believe that government is in any way able to bring about peace in our lifetimes, for sure, at any time. Government is a form of evil, and you can't have goodness when you are based in evil. So let's see what this one says. Critical race theory, just to let you know, is really not about race. It's more about power, and they're trying to indoctrinate the children so that they can take their power away from them. If we can split the country up into races, then nobody can unify against the major powers that already exist. I think that we're moving in the right direction. I think this has actually just always been here, and we're just now seeing it because people are pointing it out. And of course, with the internet, we can get the information out much quicker and spread it much further than we used to be able to. So let's take a look at this and see what he has to say about it.
CRT.
There's a fight now about CRT, critical race theory.
No justice, no peace.
CRT argues that racism is endemic to America, that every American institution exists to uphold white supremacy.
White human beings thought there's a world here and we own it.
Rutgers professor Brittany Cooper promotes CRT.
Look, I think that white people are committed to being villains in the aggregate, right? They actually aren't mad because critical race theory is just a theory. They are mad because critical race theory is an accurate account of American history.
These parents call CRT racial propaganda and don't want it taught in schools.
Critical race theory takes away a minority's agency. It says that they are just a victim and there's nothing they can do about furthering themselves. So I don't know what she's talking about. You know, as far as I know, everyone that I know takes responsibility for themselves. And that's what needs to happen. You can't say I'm a victim if you're responsible for your own actions.
I will ban critical race theory.
Glenn Youngkin was elected governor of Virginia after opposing it, while media mocked him.
I'm going to ban critical race theory. That is like us banning the ghost.
CRT is not taught in schools, they say.
There are no ghosts. There isn't critical race theory talk.
This is a multi-million-dollar industry.
Azra Namani did what more journalists should do. She filed Freedom of Information Act requests that forced school districts to reveal that they're paying consultants to spread critical race theory.
I have the proof. We found 300 plus contracts and counting. Like every day I'm getting a new contract. For them to deny it is just part of their campaign.
But that's just for teachers, says the CNN guest.
Can it influence the way that some teachers teach? Yeah, but that's a good thing, right? Because race and racism is literally the building blocks of this country.
They want to look at all of society through issues of race.
Nomani calls that propaganda that's claiming our children.
When you look at people through the lens of race, it's racism. So they themselves are saying race matters, race is important. We can divide people by race. We can categorize people by race, and we should categorize people by race. That's racism.
How is it claiming the children? That's exaggeration.
This idea that we have of critical race theory has become This phenomena of woke baby.
Books like these are now part of the curriculum. Can I?
No, that's not what I'm going to be teaching my grandchildren. That's not what I taught my children either. They're the people, my children treat people as people, not as a race.
Hey, see that?
Yeah.
This one is A is for activist. Each letter promotes a different form of protest. N is for no, 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 no. Yes to what we want. Educate, organize. It's like a union recruiting manual.
Yeah.
Is this really taught in schools?
It is used in our schools. Like every example that I have is from our K through 12 system.
This book's supposed to teach kindergarten.
It goes way back, though. I remember, I believe I was, what year of school was that? I want to say it was freshman or sophomore? No, it had to have been my junior year when, oh no, maybe it was my senior year. But Bill Clinton was running for president, and they took us to a rally as a high schooler. They took us to a Bill Clinton rally. They wanted us involved, but they didn't teach us civics. They didn't teach us how to actually get involved at the time. And they still don't. What they teach is agitation now. So,
Yeah.
Is this really taught in schools?
It is used in our schools. Like every example that I have is from our K through 12 system.
This book's supposed to teach kindergarten kids about America's violent white supremacy. Dude, we can see your pointy tail. Contract. Binding you to whiteness. You get stolen land. Sign away your soul. So white people are the devil.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty over the top. But look, how much influence does this author have on school kids? One or two books like this.
I think it's devastating. I mean, just imagine if a black child was to get a book like this that said blackness is a bad deal.
The author said,
that's exactly right. What if we taught black people to tell that they were bad? Just like we're teaching white people that they're bad. That would be considered racism for sure. And yet it's okay this way? Oh yeah, I know. White people have the power. No, they don't. Black people can have just as much power. And by the way, power is something you give to another person. It's not something that somebody else takes away from you. You can't take power. You have to be given power. You hold your own power and you give it away. So if you don't have power, that's not somebody else's fault. That's your own fault. Take responsibility for your own actions. Take responsibility for your own power.
one or two books like this.
I think it's devastating. I mean, just imagine if a black child was to get a book like this that said blackness is a bad deal.
The author says, I made a book for white children that encourages them to connect with their heartbreak about racism.
It's filled with shame. It should not be done with children.
Your time is up, ma'am. Your time is up, ma'am.
Nomani fights a lonely fight against her woke school board.
Next speaker.
Continue to shut us down.
Speaker.
They have tried to humiliate us, shut us up, denigrate us.
School boards don't like parents criticizing them.
Now, if you criticize your school board, you're considered a domestic terrorist. And this has come down all the way from the Biden administration, all the way from the top down. There were documents that I saw today that showed that the school board, the National School Board's letter to the FBI was actually directed from a Biden administration official. So yeah, it's coming down to it. And at some point, parents are going to be considered terrorists, and it's going to come down to blows. The best thing that we can do right now, I believe, is to pull children out of the public school system and homeschool. put them in private schools, put them in stuff like that. But even the private schools and charter schools still have to follow, even homeschooling still has to follow the curriculum set forth by the public education system. We need to abolish the Department of Education.
Down.
Speaker.
They have tried to humiliate us, shut us up, denigrate us.
School boards don't like parents criticizing them, nor do teachers' unions.
Teaching the truth is not radical or wrong. That was the message today from the president of one of the largest teachers' unions.
Teaching the truth is not wrong. And America has a history of racism.
Yeah, and we have to confront it. But America does not have a monopoly on racism. I come from a nation of people of, quote, color, and they are racist to each other.
India, where she was born, has long had a caste system.
Untouchables can't use this public well because even their touch would pollute the water.
Slavery began in the Middle East and thrived in Africa long before slaves were brought to America. And it was actually Americans who helped end the practice. But today, many college students think America invented slavery.
It says F America with the KKK in it.
This poster was put up in a Los Angeles school.
This is now state-sponsored indoctrination.
It's not indoctrination, they say. It's just trying to make things more tolerant for people.
It is a bigotry that they are teaching and a shaming that they're doing of our children.
They are absolutely teaching bigotry. They're teaching racism. They're teaching classism. They're teaching that people need to be ashamed of who they are because of the color of their skin. That's wrong. It always has been and it always will be.
They say it's just trying to make things more tolerant for people.
It is
it's making
a
it less
bigotry
tolerant
that they are teaching and a shaming that they're doing of our children. It's just so immoral. I am a brown Muslim woman, an immigrant in America, and I know more freedoms in this country than I could in any Muslim country in the world.
But they're not in a Muslim country, they're in America, and there is still racism here.
But to suggest that this is all of America...
There's always going to be racism. There's always going to be somebody who hates somebody else because of the color of their skin or for some other stereotypical reason. You can't stop that, but you can minimize it, not exploit it. That's what's happening here, is they're exploiting this.
Is as racist and bigoted as it is to be racist and bigoted against people of color.
Government officials, school systems are captured by this extreme and sometimes idiotic philosophy?
They are. And that's what everybody has to understand. Like, why should every single person care? Because it's the taxpayers that are funding this. This is state-sponsored indoctrination.
One solution is school choice. Let parents take their tax money to a school they choose. Right now, most choices are made by people like the teachers' union.
Teaching the truth is not radical or wrong. Distorting history and threatening educators for teaching the truth is what is truly radical.
Distorting history. See, look, she is projecting. She is confessing through projection. She is...
School they choose.
Let me see what her
right now, most
were.
choices are made by people like the teachers' union.
Teaching the truth.
Teaching the truth, her truth, what she thinks is she's racist, so she needs to teach the truth, which is racism.
Is not radical or wrong. Distorting history.
She's distorting history by forgetting to claim how the rest of the world is racist too, how minorities can be racist, and saying that everybody throughout history and every single white person throughout history has been racist. That's a distortion of history.
And threatening educators.
And she's threatening educators. She is threatening the people who should be educating their children, the parents, because 99% of the education comes from the parents. All your morals, all your ideals, everything, all your habits, things like that come from the parents. Just because these guys teach 1 + 1 = 2 or A, B, C, D doesn't mean that they're teaching everything.
Educators for teaching the truth is what is truly radical.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Please click that button to help us
I do
make
enjoy
more.
it. I mean, I love the way that he makes people look stupid. It's great. All right. So takeaways, I guess. Get your kids out of the public school system. They're teaching your children to be racist. They're teaching your children that minorities cannot help themselves, that they're victims, and they'll never get above the white men unless we give them all the power in the world. And they're teaching white people that they are horrible devils. So get your kids out of the school system. That's all I can say.